Hello, I'm Charles Blanchard, a retired school administrator. You've just been approved by the school board for your first or a new principalship. Congratulations. I know you're excited and ready to get started. You now have what seems like 1,000,001 things on your plate to make sure your new school is ready for students and teachers to come in August. Your to-dos involve tasks like hiring, scheduling, making sure the building is prepared, instructional planning for the year, creating safety plans, and the list goes on. All of these things are important and, of course, cannot be overlooked. But today, let's talk about what I believe should be the most important item on your long to-do list when you first enter your building. That item is building relationships and trust with your school community stakeholders. I believe this is the most important task because it will give you the support you need throughout the year and into the future to accomplish great things for your students with all of your stakeholders. So how do you do this? How do you work on building relationships if you start in July and there are very few people actually in the building? I will share a strategy that worked well for me and should work well for you as you transition to your new school. First, let's talk about why spending time building relationships is so important. Stephen Covey says, if I make deposits into an emotional bank account with you through courtesy, kindness, honesty, and keeping my commitments to you, I build up a reserve. Your trust towards me becomes higher, and I can call upon that trust many times if I need to. I can even make mistakes, and that trust level, that emotional reserve, will compensate for it. When the trust account is high, communication is easy, instant, and effective. An emotional bank account works the same way your financial bank account does, except your deposits are not made with money. Instead, your deposits are made with positive interactions. When you deposit enough of these interactions, your emotional bank account with a person will thrive, and this results in trust. As a new principal, you need to begin making deposits into the emotional bank accounts of your stakeholders as soon as possible. Making these deposits takes time, but will pay huge dividends for you as you lead your school community. How do you make deposits into someone's emotional bank account? The process to begin making these deposits is simple, effective, and best of all, it's free. The strategy I used was to schedule brief meetings with as many stakeholders as possible before the school year started. I recommend 30-minute meetings with a small number of focused but powerful questions. The stakeholders you meet with should include, but are not limited to, your teachers, assistant principals, classified office staff, custodians, cafeteria staff, counselors, instructional coaches, athletic directors, media specialists, PTA leaders, student leaders, and any other key community stakeholders you identify. These individual meetings are your opportunity to show them how much you care about them as individuals. It shows them you have an open door and that you are invested in their success. And it's your chance to begin making deposits into their emotional bank accounts. According to Stephen Covey, there are 6 types of major deposits we can make into someone else's emotional bank account. Number 1, understanding the individual. This one-on-one meeting allows you to actively listen to their thoughts about your school and learn about them as people. It's your first act of caring and kindness. Number 2, keeping commitments. This meeting is your first commitment to them. Keep it and be on time. Number 3, clarifying expectations. You will have opportunities during this meeting to share some about your leadership style and expectations for serving students. Number 4, attending to the little things. This meeting will allow you to learn more about the little things that are important in your building and deserve your attention. Number 5, showing personal integrity. This meeting is an opportunity to show them you are a person of high integrity. This is key in the development of building trust throughout your school community. Number 6, apologizing when we make a withdrawal. As a principal, you are going to make mistakes. However, if you have spent time building relationships, your stakeholders will support you when these mistakes happen. Now, you still have that long to-do list that I mentioned earlier, so you have to be strategic to avoid being overwhelmed. I accomplished this by scheduling 2 to 3 meetings each morning and 2 to 3 meetings each afternoon until school started. This means I was spending 60 to 90 minutes each morning and afternoon building positive relationships and trust with the school community. Don't worry if you can't meet with everyone before school starts. There's only so many hours in a day, and some folks will not be able to come in during the summer. I always let my people know that if I couldn't meet with them during the summer, we would definitely get together before the end of the first month of school or the end of the first quarter. Keep the meetings simple and spend more time actively listening and taking notes instead of talking about yourself or your goals. It's okay to share a little about yourself and your vision, but you can also do this later at the opening faculty meeting. To keep the meetings focused, I developed a list of simple questions that allowed me to learn about the person and gain valuable insight in their opinions about our school. The questions I used are: tell me a little about yourself, your family, and your background in education. When is your birthday, and what kind of treats do you like? What subjects do you teach, and are you involved with any clubs, sports, or leadership positions at our school? When you think about our school, what are 3 to 4 things about it that make you the most proud? What are 1 or 2 things you think our school could do better? What are your ideas to improve these things? If you were the principal, what 1 thing would be your major focus this school year? What do you need from me to be successful? And what do you want to know about me? And do you have anything else to share that I did not ask you about? Their answers to these questions provided me with extremely valuable data and insight about our school. This data enabled me to identify 2 to 3 school-wide trends that I needed to potentially focus on as we prepared for the opening of school. I also learned what they were the most proud of so I could learn more about those things and acknowledge them appropriately when the school year started. Now, when you greet them at the opening faculty meeting, you will not be standing in front of a room of strangers. You will be standing in front of colleagues and friends. You've also laid a strong foundation for building a collaborative school culture. I highly recommend continuing to spend time throughout your first year building relationships and making deposits into stakeholder emotional bank accounts and earning their trust. This trust will pave the road for improving your school and outcomes for all of your students.